What's up, guys? Well, this is it, the last installment of my last 3 videos just talking about net worth. It's a big video. This is episode 100, so thank you guys for supporting me up until this point. I come up with a video a week, so I've been doing this for a while. It's just, that's the frequency that I like. So, it is a big deal getting to this milestone. Thank you guys. You might also notice that I've got a couple ads running on some of the videos. The channel did get monetized a few days ago. I haven't decided 100% what I'm going to do with the revenue. I'm obviously, while I got our money working for our financial goals, I wanted to use any revenue from this to just make the channel better, maybe into some equipment or something. But I will break off a piece of that because I'd like to also put that back into the community somehow, whether it's like through a charity, if it's maybe a smaller amount of money, just like tipping someone really handsomely who's having a bad day or something like that. Anyways, the reason actually this video is really important is we hit a milestone in our net worth recently. We've hit that $1 million mark, but this video has really been 12 or 13 years in the making, because to get to this point was just a series of small decisions, both in my personal life and financially, to get here. And so I'm going to talk about where we were when we hit that point. I'll talk about my expenses a bit, so the shelter, transportation, whatever. We'll talk about income again, talk about the investments. And then at the end of the video, I think is kind of gonna be the most important thing for me, is I'm just gonna talk a little bit about the personal finance community, the space here on YouTube, what's kind of been going on with, what's been trending here lately. And so, it's a bit of a PSA, but then I'll finally just end with next steps for the channel and where we're going with that. But let's not make this longer than it needs to be. Let's get right into it. Breaking out the good stuff to celebrate. Okay, so January 2021, I was actually just scrolling through my phone. My wife and I were going through it, and I noticed on Mint that we had an extra digit on our net worth. So it did kind of creep up on me, because there's just a lot going on obviously in the world, and I just hadn't checked it. As far as where we were, well, we were still living in this house, which we'll talk about in a bit, still driving the one car, which we'll also talk about in the expenses part. And well, the biggest change was just having a 3-month-old in the house, and some of the changes that came with that, and with my wife being on maternity leave. We'll talk about that as well. So let's just jump into the part about expenses. So this house, as I mentioned actually talked a lot about this in the last video, but we do have that goal to pay off this house, this mortgage, in a couple of years, which will actually be 5 years of having it. Now, I'm very aware that mathematically it's not the best thing to do. Probably long term it would be better to put everything into index funds, but this is just a personal goal that we want to get behind us. And we are trying to do our best to still hit our financial goals and our investment goals as well, but we feel not having a mortgage is going to give us a lot of freedom and let us take some more risks. Now, what we're going to do a little bit differently, though, is instead of throwing a chunk of money at the principal at the end of the year like we typically do, I'm actually going to take that money and grow it in an investment fund until the term of our mortgage is up, and then I'll pay off the rest of the house, and then whatever extra, hopefully there's extra there, but whatever extra is there, we can keep for ourselves and do something else with. So when I have that set up, I will show you guys, maybe through a tutorial on Questrade or something, but I'll show you guys what I have in that account. It's one that I'll probably update you guys every so often with, and let you know how it's going. Now, of course, with this house, we also live on a train line, which means we have been sticking to the one car situation, which has also contributed to all that money that would have gone to a second vehicle. The upkeep of that has helped us get that much closer to our goals that much faster. That car, however, is probably going to be one of the biggest expenses we had this year, not from using gas. This is just my personal experience, and I have nothing against German manufacturers, but I have noticed that this car, like these luxury brands in particular, while they look awesome, they drive really great, do become a lot to maintain, and that's even if it's just regular maintenance. That's if nothing else extra goes wrong. I do find that they're quite, there's just maybe a lot of bells and whistles and stuff in there that tend to go wrong. When you do have to fix them, you have to pay in euros, it feels like. Now, as far as food and entertainment expenses go, well, there's not much to talk about there. We can't go much anywhere right now, so all that money has gone again towards our goals. I'm not really going to talk too much about that. Okay, income. Now, I'm not going to dwell too much on annual salary here because those incremental increases that you get in your salary year after year don't impact what your net worth is as much as the money that I already had working for me, the return I got on that. So like I was saying, at the 100K mark, you start to focus on your investing, and if you do, that money that gets put to work for you starts to contribute more and more to your net worth every year. And that's what has kind of been happening. So it's just stressing that I didn't get to this point by getting a huge increase in salary. It's more that the investing that happened 10, 12 years ago is growing and growing and growing, and that's, gaining momentum now. Now, there were a few things we had to do in this situation that we're in the world. First, we inflated our emergency fund by $10,000. We felt that, looking around on top of the situation, but also our industry being very cyclical, it's something that we needed to do. Money that we probably would have normally spent on a trip or something, we used that to top up our investment accounts. We're probably putting away about 15% of our monthly income into investing. It's lower than what a lot of people will say you should do. They say you should do 20%, but we're also putting about 30% way towards this goal with the house. So I do consider that an investment as well, not because the house is an investment, but because I'm not going to be paying that interest to the bank in the future. So to me, it feels like paying off the mortgage is kind of like paying myself in the future. Now, we were very fortunate that we both kept our jobs throughout this whole issue, but Natalie is also on maternity leave now, so that affects our income. We are still able to hit those goals, just takes a lot more communication and, micromanaging the money a little bit in order to make sure you're on track. But we both like to do it, so it's not a pain to us in any way. Okay, let's talk a little bit about investing. And here's where I start to kind of get on my soapbox. But the personal finance community, especially the investing community, tends to talk about the really exciting stocks that are out there. However, the way I got to this milestone was not by buying Tesla or buying Bitcoin. It was just index funds that I talk about all the time on this channel, and those just have steady growth over time. It's really exciting to make a video about that other stuff because it gets a lot of views and people are really interested in it. But I'm like a lot of other folks that invest on YouTube, and while we talk about maybe that 10% of our portfolio that is into individual companies and stocks and SPACs and stuff, 90% of my money is in index funds, which are a lot less volatile. So during all this chaos and waiting for vaccines to roll out and all that kind of stuff, when we hit that $1 million net worth milestone. And so the timeline looks a little bit like this. So getting to the first 100K, I was 25, 26 years old. At 500K, I was 32, and then it really kind of took off and we got to the million mark when I was 35. And if there were 5 tips that I could say contributed to this, here is what they are. The biggest impacts you get from: 1, living below your means. I did that all the time. 2 was paying off high interest debts. 3rd was starting to invest early. I started to invest when I was 23 years old. I didn't know exactly what I was doing, but I did invest money that has been growing since that time. 4 would be paying yourself first. So that is making sure that off the top money goes into our investment accounts every month and we aren't tempted to spend it. And then the 5th and thing that probably accelerated this the fastest was navigating these financial goals with my partner. And I say that because it's how we ended up in this house. It's how we were able to get to the goal of being able to pay for all our expenses off one person's salary, so that one person could go on maternity leave without us worrying about it. We can take that person's salary as well, the second person, and use it to hit all of our investing goals, all of our financial goals. So it really helps when you live below your means. You just open up so many more options. All right, so I just wanted to demonstrate that I haven't done anything special. There, like I said at the top, it's just a bunch of personal decisions, small decisions that I made along the way. I just worked my job, and we both just live below our means, and over time, this is where you get to. I didn't own a tech startup. I didn't win the lottery. I don't have a huge YouTube channel that's paying me tons of money. So I just wanted to, demonstrate that it is attainable, and I wanted you to hear it from someone who's just gotten there recently, so that it's legit. Now, one of the things I've seen kind of in the news is I'm still kind of seeing how the illness is, making the rich richer and the poor poorer. And I've noticed that that's getting a lot of coverage in the news. And so to be someone who kind of hits this milestone in the middle of all of this chaos kind of puts me into that rich group, I suppose. And I kind of have to say that I feel that this happened because of the knowledge that I gained in the books that I read and the education that I sort of took on and when I wanted to be responsible for my investing. It's not because I started to make extra money or I was in a certain profession or that I'm the CEO of anything, really. Okay, that's enough about that. I wanted to still talk a little bit about this notion too, that the quickest way to get there is through entrepreneurship. I don't think that path is for everybody. I don't think it's feasible for everybody to just quit their day job and then go do a startup of some kind. But I do feel that sometimes, in the hustle culture we sometimes get caught up in, you're almost shamed when you have like a salaried corporate job. And that shouldn't be the case. There's no shame in working a 9-to-5 job and having a steady paycheck and providing for your family. There's no shame in that. But what I hope to do with this channel is just kind of show that, yeah, you don't need to be a surgeon or a CEO in order to live comfortably. You may not get there as quickly as others, but you can have a normal, modest salary. And if you're managing it properly, be able to make sure you're taking care of yourself, you're not depending on your kids when you're retired, and mostly just to relieve that stress. And I think that stress comes from not understanding how money works. And so what I aim to do on this channel is just kind of educate you guys through my own experience, because I'm not a financial planner, but I can just tell you what I'm doing. And if you guys do your own research and you figure it out and you do what's best for you, hopefully you understand money so it stresses you out less and you can manage your wealth in a way that you get to a point where you're no longer stressed about losing your job. Or perhaps you can earn a lot of money right now in a current job you're not really happy with, but perhaps this knowledge lets you quit that job, get a less stressful job, but still able to, live comfortably and pay your bills because you understand how money works. There is a little bit of a system out there where they don't teach you this stuff in school because they want you to graduate, they want you to get a job, they want you to take on debt and pay the government money and pay the bank's money and be part of society in a sense. But you don't have to be part of that system. If you understand how this works, you can set yourself up to get out of that and in essence stress less about money because you don't owe anybody anything. So do you want to become a millionaire? There's easy things you can do to get there over time. You want to just, get maybe a job you're passionate about, but maybe it pays you a little bit less. Well, you can do that by understanding how money works. You can have it all. You just can't have it all right now, or you can't have it all at once. All right, I'm gonna stop. All right, so let me just finish with what I'm gonna do with this channel for the next little bit here. So for starters, the biggest difference is I'm gonna be changing this YouTube channel to a brand account to give me some flexibility in editing, a few of the extra features. Unfortunately, that means I will be losing all previous comments I've made on this page plus others. Kind of sucks, but there's no way around it. I'm also going to make sure that my usernames are the same across all these social media platforms, just in case I expand to others in the future. And I'm also going to, tweak the banner to make sure everything matches and all the names match, and just do some general housekeeping for these videos and stuff. I do want to take a little bit of time off just to have a weekend and decompress. I'm not going to talk about net worth anymore. I feel like I've made the point at this point, things should, in theory, just accelerate as time goes on. But I will be opening up now some of my accounts once I've kind of got them to a place where I'm happy, and show you guys what I'm doing to hit certain, short, midterm, and long-term financial goals as we go. While I do that, you'll see some quest trade tutorials. You'll maybe see a tutorial or two on a website I'm using called Passive. And of course, we'll get into talking about stocks and stuff, because that is the exciting stuff. And I'll let you guys know what I'm researching. As always, let me know if you have any questions. Let me know in the comments, and if you have anything else you would like covered, please respond to some of my posts, or let me know in the comments as well. I read every comment. So that's it, guys. As always, have yourself a great week. Spread the wealth. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.